about to discuss the implications of cross-carpeting in Nigeria's politics. And what led to this is the political crisis currently going on in Rivers State. So whenever we talk about cross-carpeting, defection, whichever name one wants to call it, we always see it as, because I have once asked a politician this question, and then they said that if someone is coming to their party and this person is one that has a lot of following, they are always glad to receive this member. But then for the party that the person left, it is always seeming like they're always crying foul that why does this person have to leave our party? Or well, they might not even say that outright. It might always be like, oh, you have the freedom, you join when you want to, you could also leave when you want to. Have we not reached a point where perhaps we should declare cross-carpeting illegal in Nigeria politics?
Look at it this way. There are laws in place. The barrister just said that the reason why Governor Fubara presenting his budget and having it approved by only 5 people, 5 members of the assembly, is because his assembly now constitutes a membership of 5 legally. Those people who did not come to class, they are not going to take exam. It's simple as that. They have not come to work. They have decided not to come. So they don't have to be there, and they're not there. So the 5 can take a decision on behalf of the state. Therefore, if you want to cross carpet, you have to think twice. If it is the assembly from which you want to cross carpet from one party to the other, you have to realize that Constitution 109 subsection 1G will catch you and will neutralize your movement. If it is a National Assembly, Constitution 68 subsection G, I believe, will get you. In other words, there are laws in place. What appears to be this cross-carpeting and they get away with it is usually with the executive. I don't know what the law is about the executive, but the governors seem to be able to make that move. I don't know how the law is, and they get away with it. Now, also, individuals who are leaders of parties, well-known people in parties, if they decide to move to another party, there's no law that can stop that anywhere in the world, I believe. Not a problem. The issue is if you are duly elected by the people, you are answerable to the people, to the Constitution. And the Constitution says if you leave, you pay a penalty, and the penalty is that you are left in limbo. You don't have any party now. So yes, the APC may be happy that these 25 people are coming. They may be hopeful that Wike will join them. So, and they will bring the whole of River State, and Wike will deliver the whole of South. That is their hope to APC. But there's a law. You see, the way Wike is now, he can leave and go and join APC because he's not been elected by the people. He's a free agent, you know? And they will welcome him because he has a lot of following, has a lot of influence. Good. But it is not so for other elected members of the political parties. So the issue shouldn't be of such great concern. Our concern should be in enforcing the law, you know, and making sure that people who do the wrong thing pay a penalty for it. And these 25 members of the River State House of Assembly will be a good example. They're not going to be so easy. So when you see this cross-carpeting and people begin to wonder, you know, no. It's not at every level that you can get away with it.
Okay, all right. Now, if we look at how things are going on in River State, I think it is safe to assume that it is clear that the PDP is not happy with the situation going on in Rivers State now. If we are to look at what happened in Kano State by proxy, that is for the new Nigeria People's Party, when they sensed that someone who was representing the party did something that was not in the party's interest, they summoned him, they queried him for anti-party activities. So how come the PDP is yet to call Wike to order for the things that they're not happy that he is doing in River State?
First and foremost, I think, this is my own opinion, that you couldn't do that during the campaign, because everybody's campaigning, and Wike was campaigning against the presidential candidate, but you couldn't hold him accountable at that point. But now the election is over, he's no longer an elected officer of the party. So really, he's a free agent. And the PDP has this attitude that democracy, free speech, free expression, you can do anything you want, but eventually you're going to pay the price. So Wike now, our election, the 22-23 election was very convoluted. There were many problems. What are you going to do if you want to probe one person? Then all his associates too will be probed. And there's so many people. I mean, look at what happened in Lagos State, where toward the election day, we had a problem whereby members of the party were canvassing against their own candidate. Some leaders said they have been instructed by National that we should go and support the Labour Party. We didn't know whether it was true or not. So now where do you want to begin? That's why I think the acting national chairman said recently that, look, we won't probe anybody for now. And let us see as we go into the mini convention, which will happen in the first quarter of 2024, I believe. Then we begin to restructure, reorganize the party, and then gradually, instead of wasting all our time, energy, and resources probing people, and democracy really, it's free, it's equal opportunity for all, it's a principle of equal opportunity for all, so everybody can express themselves. And this is why PDP is the only really democratic party in Nigeria.
Okay,
because we allow people to express themselves.
So it's safe to say that PDP is still observing for the moment before they take action for the future.
We can do whatever he wants to do. Maybe he will dig a hole for himself in the process. So let him continue.
Okay, all right. And now to Professor Arugo, I want to ask, because this issue of cross-carpeting has caused some problems in Nigeria politics. Do you think that it might be possible for it to be declared as illegal, or maybe some stiff penalties that transcends just losing the particular position you are currently occupying, so that it's going to discourage people from doing this? Because it is obvious that each party has their own ideology, and then it seems impractical to just want to switch to another party which might have different ideology. So what are the chances that we could have it to be declared illegal?
My impression is that cross-carpeting is already banned by the Constitution. I've referred to Section 68. I've referred to Section 109 in respect of members of the National Assembly and state houses of assembly. So the Constitution has done its work. What is remaining is for the same politicians to play by the rules. What is difficult? You're elected on the platform of People's Democratic Party, and you decide to defect to AP. What is difficult in complying with the constitutional provision? Leave that seat, or you can come back and contest again for it. On the new platform, it's a question of ethics, it's a question of value. People say political parties don't have ideology in Nigeria. I say no. The challenge is ethics, value. That ethical value is not there in Nigeria. And that is why most Nigerians shun Nigerian politics. So the one who can play with impunity will want to show that he is a good politician. But no, for Christ's sake, we need to think of value. There must be value. It's not just a case of getting to power by all means. So, my response to your question is that the Constitution has done its own. What else can we do? Is it to penalize it by criminal sanctions? The same politicians, because they are defecting to the ruling party, will still rubbish that provision. They will still rubbish that provision. My stake is simply this. Let PDP, section 109 that I referred to in this particular instance, relevant, says that if you defect to another party, unless they are division, which means factionalization, as far as I'm concerned, there is no factions in PDP. PDP has managed its crisis without factionalization. Even the so-called G5 or G6 governors, whatever they call themselves, PDP still manage them. I think in the case of PDP being, with due respect to their member there, it looks like they were helpless. But that helplessness appears to be helping them in this situation. Because in the case of Rivers, we are going to wait to see where this will lead all of us to. Because the nature of this crisis in Rivers State is one that will quickly get to the Supreme Court again. Because right now, as we speak, the governor has decided to work with 5 legislators. And we all know that the other ones, as far as governor is concerned, they've defected. So they've lost their seats. So if their calculation was to impeach the governor, which they attempted before, the question now will be whether they can possibly impeach the governor, having automatically lost their seat. These issues will come to the Supreme Court very soon, I'm sure of that. And let's see whether the case of Ifedayo Abegunde will not apply in this case. If it applies in this case and the Supreme Court says that, probably next time, before people jump from one party to the other, they will think twice, knowing fully well that they will lose their position. So we only pray that people don't bulldoze the judiciary. Let the proper case be presented before the courts. You know, sometimes they blame the judiciary, but unless you present their case properly before the courts, you don't expect the courts to do miracles by going to the streets to get the facts. This facts, most of us know these facts, as far as the court is concerned. There is a different ball game how you present the facts before the courts so that they can come to a rightful decision. So I'm sure with time, by the time some of them, if these people, after 5 months, lose their seats, they contest this case to the Supreme Court maybe in the next 2-3 years and lose everything. Then next time they will think twice before they take that kind of step. So for me, the Constitution has taken care of this. It's just for us to enforce the position of the law. Simple.
All right, definitely. And if you would agree with me, Nigerians have been displeased with the judiciary this year, especially with some of the outcomes of the election, the tribunal, and all that, because they blame the judiciary of operating on technicalities. So, would you say that it is fair if people have this fear that even if they go to the judiciary, it might still be based on technicalities, and then we might still have a scenario where these lawmakers that have defected still manage to clinch onto power, because like it has been established that the ruling party, and like you have said to that, the ruling party sometimes hold so much power that it seems as if they might even disregard some court judgment.
You know, as a senior member of the bar, sometimes it's difficult to remove ourselves from some of these blames. But like I said earlier, let me say this, just by the side. My inaugural lecture some years back was titled Lawyer or Liar, and I said the myths and realities of the legal profession. In that seminar work, I had tried to show how difficult it is to appreciate the judiciary, even in the work they are doing. In the case of the election petition issues, much as one will not hold brief for the election tribunals, in few of those cases, you find that the majority of the cases were actually decided based on known principles of law. But because of the intricacies, that is the complexities of legal practice which we do, sometimes we will not understand the outcome of some of these cases, but they are based on technicalities that the average Nigerian will not understand. So some years back, I went to one police station. I saw the guy was my uncle, and he was really nice. I saw behind him, he said, if you don't like the police, when next you have a case, call a talk. And I smiled. The implication is obvious. As we speak, the judiciary is still doing its best in the circumstances they found themselves in Nigeria. I still believe that when cases are properly presented, all the facts before the court, in the majority of cases, they are human beings. You will still get justice. So in this case, there is nothing to worry about. There's nothing to worry about. But let people go to court, present their cases properly, and see whether justice will not be done. Is as in this case now, even the people you interviewed before this program, you found out that virtually everybody will appear to know the facts of this case in Rivers State, and everybody has got interest looking up to see how it's run. But it's a different ballgame when you get to court. The way you present the matter, the way you proceed, procedural issues, and the way you present your case to cause you problems. And in those cases, the public will say, judiciary. It's not every time they call judiciary that judiciary will have failed. It's simply because we don't understand the intricacies of some of those cases. So I think that's what I have to say.
All right, we thank you very much for your submission. And now to Dr. Pierce. When we talk about defection, if it is the other way around, let's assume that in Rivers State it is majority of the people who were for the ruling party that defected. I'm sure probably it is all going to be warmth and smiles from the part of the PDP. So do you not think that it is about time that we advise politicians to do something about this cross-carpeting? Or are we still trying to work on, it is the will of the people, it's whatever you want that you could do? Or perhaps each political party should tailor their ideology so that whoever is coming in would know that this is what we are doing here, and if it's not to your liking from the very inception, it's better you don't join at all.
I think the senior barrister issue has explained everything that needs to be explained. There are laws. If it's the assembly, I said it before, and he just reiterated it. If the assembly, there's a constitutional provision, 109 subsection 1G. If it's a national assembly, if it's state assembly, it's 109. If it's the national assembly, it's 68. So, there are laws. The problem with us in this country is the enforcement of the law. And the issue of cross-competing, again, there are laws to deal with it, but if the court does the right thing, and you ask the question about the legitimacy of the courts, as we call into question, and I agree entirely with the barrister, because I know the way it operates in the United States, where we have the best example of democracy, which is not perfect. It depends on how you present your case. And Nigerians, and you have just said it yourself, they have this idea of the court cannot use technicalities. Everything is technicalities, you understand me? Everything in law is technicalities. So don't say, what is technicality? Let me tell you, if you see me, I take a gun and I shoot somebody in public and there's a video. Now, when you go to court and you present that video and it doesn't appear clearly that I'm the one with the gun, that video didn't show my face properly, my lawyer argues and I argue that it's not me. That technicality will set me free. the judge, they look at it and say, "Ah, it's this man, no, but what can we do? This is what we have. That's the technicality. You understand me? So when people say technicality, it's all about technicality. So the barrister is right. You understand me? Then something else happened recently. Because I've been watching, for instance, our presidential election, the case we had. I am not a lawyer, but I try to be fair. And I think that what happened was we were presenting a case that was mainly pre-election matters. And therefore, the Supreme Court could not judge on pre-election matters. So, again, technicality nullified us. Same thing happened with Labour Party. They went to court. It's as if what they presented was so ambiguous that they couldn't judge, they just threw it out. So, this is not prejudice against the law. But Barrister said something else. The judges are only human. The Chief Judge of Nigeria said it recently in a lecture. Two things he said. Judges are only human. Therefore, if they get it right in most cases, we thank God. He also said that they do not have, the judiciary in Nigeria does not have fiscal independence. What does that tell you? That means they may be influenced.
And they may be subject. Well,
Subject
definitely.
to influence. So it's not perfect, and I'm glad the way Nigerians are focused on the judiciary now. Barrister also alluded to it. It is going to be difficult for the judiciary not to do the right thing.
Okay, definitely. But when we are talking about the issue of defection now, it is always going to be a question of morality and loyalty to a party. But I wish we could go on and on about it. But
It's not just morality. It's not just morality. You know, the morality issue has to be enforced by law. There's nowhere in the world where human beings are moral. The only difference between us here and the United States or wherever there seems to be law and order is law enforcement. So we must, that's why we must be very careful with the judiciary and pray to God and put them under enough pressure to always do the right thing.
All right, thank you so much for